is
So I think starting from today, the market will be rising.
Jittery investors all around the world are breathing a sigh of relief today after Hong Kong's shattered stock market rallied from the meltdown yesterday. There was a burst of panic selling Thursday. The Hang Seng Index had plunged more than 10%. Its worst loss since the 80s, but it's been upturned today, 6.9%. What's going on in Hong Kong and how does it affect us? These are the questions we're going to put to Mr. Tung. He is the Vice President of Asian Banking for the TD Bank. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dan.
Can you set the table for us here? What brought us to this week? Because all week it's been a bad week in Hong Kong, not just Thursday. And if it wasn't for today's upturn, it might have been a catastrophic week.
Well, I think what has happened is all lead up from the currency crisis in Asia and around Hong Kong. When Thailand started to allow the currency to float, it created the pressure for other currencies in Asia. And when the Taiwanese dollar and the Singapore dollar, which are the two more stronger currencies in Asia, start to devaluate, Taiwan actually said that they would defend their Taiwan dollar, but they allowed it to float about a week ago and has dropped from a US $25 Taiwan dollar to one US dollar to about $30. So it caused that, and so the speculators are saying, well, hey, we can do that with Taiwanese dollar, and then maybe we can do the same thing in Hong Kong. So it caused a currency crisis in Hong Kong. Also, the real estate market in Hong Kong, there's been some jitteries because of the government's policies of reducing the housing price to create more affordable housing, and because the outlook of negative interest rate, people are afraid that interest rate is going to go up, and if interest rate go up, usually property market would come down, and 70% of the Hong Kong stock market, roughly, are related to real estate. So it caused people to be afraid of how the stock is going to happen. So that's all come together all in 1 week, and so we've seen this tremendous drop, 10.4% on Thursday.
So Hong Kong now has the only economy in Southeast Asia that is, in fact, pegged to the U.S. dollar.
The only currency that is.
And there used to be several.
It is pegged at about Hong Kong $7.8 to one US dollar. In fact, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority like to intervene when it goes down to about 7.75.
Yeah. Now, they are committed to the peg.
They are very, very committed, from the Chief Executive Tung to their Hong Kong Monetary Authority, Mr. Yan, and also with the Secretary of Finance, Donald Singh. They all publicly stated that they're going to use whatever resources are available in terms, basically, there's two things they can do. One is to use the massive 66 billion US dollar foreign exchange to defend the dollar, but defend the Hong Kong dollar by selling US dollar and to selling US dollar and buy Hong Kong dollar if it drops too much. Or they can also raise interest rate, which they have done. They have raised the prime rate from 8.75 to 9.5. So they've used both tactics.
So do we have a test of wills here then between the speculators and the people who move the levers of the Hong Kong economy?
I think so, and what also people got to look at too is the basic fundamentals of Hong Kong. I know a lot of people trade on sentimentals rather than fundamentals, but in this case, I think people should look at the fundamentals of Hong Kong's economy, look at Hong Kong's political system, and look at Hong Kong's social situation in Hong Kong. It's all still very stable, and the outlook is still continue to be positive.
Yeah. So this is a blip. This is not a crisis.
Well, Hong Kong has gone through a lot of crises like this, and has always come out ahead.
Yeah.
And in the last 20 years, most of the people who bet against Hong Kong has been burned. So I guess in that sense, history probably will repeat itself.
So the implications then for Canadian investors are what?
Well, I guess people who have exposure in Hong Kong investments, our advice to them is to hang tight, be patient, and I think that people who can do that and who are holding on to quality investments in Hong Kong and Asia will be rewarded in the long term.
Be patient how long, though?
Well, I guess as Deng Xiaoping, the former leader of China, says, well, 50 years is not a very long time.
No, but you're not saying 50 years, surely.
No, I'm not
I mean,
saying
the
50
Mexican
years.
crisis, you know, for example, in Mexico, that crisis went on for like 18 months.
Oh, you're referring to the crisis?
Yeah.
No, I think the crisis is, I think, as you introduced it, today already the Hong Kong stock market has already come back up. The currency is stabilizing at around 770, 772, 775. So it's, at the moment, things seems like calm down a bit, but again, this type of situations, it might last a bit longer. Right now, the jury is still out.
Tung Chan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll review the new sci-fi thriller Gattaca when we come back.
The same